got a call one day from Jimmy Binns when MMA in Philadelphia, all of PA, was not legalized. And I said, hey, let's do this MMA thing, or let's get ready for this MMA thing. And we started talking. And Jim and his family came from the boxing world. We came from the jiu-jitsu mixed martial arts world. It made sense to do something to showcase the people in Philadelphia.
Well, my son and I have had a lot of experience in promotions stemming from the time that I was the boxing commissioner of Pennsylvania beginning in 1980. And shortly after becoming the boxing commissioner, in addition, I became the only lawyer in the world for the World Boxing Association, which is headquartered in South America. And so we became exposed jointly to a lot of promoters, including Don King, Bob Arum, Lou DiBella, Cedric Krishner, Bob Goodman, Madison Square Garden, Main Events. I don't want to leave anybody out, but if I went on to include the entire list of European and Latin American and North American promoters, it would take quite a bit of time. So in any event, when my son got involved in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu with my nephews, Ricardo and Phil Migliarese, the three of us, along with Big Phil, the father of Phil and Ricky, sat down and discussed the possibility of utilizing our talents that we had acquired over the 25 to 30 years that we were involved in professional boxing and lend them to the world of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and mixed martial arts.
I think the main reason why I wanted to create Matrix Fights was that I saw a void in how the promoters were actually trying to do business with some of the fighters. And being that it was such a brand new sport, it needed some type of structure of, good promotion with good intent for fighters to have them fight locally and then hopefully take them on to the next, national, worldwide level.
We all came up with the Matrix idea as a name, and we started cooking on the first one. So it was a good event for the first one. The first event that we did, actually, it was probably the most packed that we ever had because it was our first event, and we did it at the local Alhambra. It was called the Alhambra at the time, and man, there's probably like maybe 2,000, 2,500 spectators, which was way over what we expected. It was just a great show, great people. The ambience was nice. There wasn't booing or anything. It was just a nice atmosphere altogether. It's kind of what we wanted. We want to stray away from the normal MMA fan, the normal everyday that pretty much don't know what they're looking at. But we wanted a more classy event, which we got. We have it for all 8 shows. We had it for.
Matrix 1 was an unbelievable show. It was packed. There wasn't a seat. There wasn't an open seat in the house. It was great energy. It was felt like a lot of old school Philadelphia fighting. Philadelphia has a long history of fighting, starting from years and years ago, and we want to continue to bring that to Philadelphia with MMA, and Matrix 1 was probably one of our best shows that we've ever done.
Well, Matrix Fights 1 was a huge event, a couple thousand people, all great fights. We were all excited and we couldn't wait to do Matrix 2. And we used the same formula. We got great fighters from the area, and it worked out again. So we promoted. Luckily, we have a pretty good web presence, and it was easy to sell tickets because of all the really great fights from the area.
After the first promotion, it seemed to me that we entered the field in a rather seamless transition, and it became immediately apparent to all of the people involved, that is the three Migliareses and Jimmy and I, that this was something that we could do simply because of our innate talents. The Migliarese brothers, from the standpoint of their being able to train fighters and being able to utilize their reputation as skilled black belts in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Their father is a very acute business person, and then Jimmy and I brought in the other angle of it, and that was from the angle of boxing at a professional level. So it immediately appeared to me that we had something that was working here and had the ability to be taken higher, higher, and higher.
There was a couple fights that were just unbelievable energy, like when Sammy O fought Oglasang. Julio Rosario fought Breland Van Arslan. There was Marines versus Army. There was crazy energy in the building for that.
Favorite knockout, I mean, it's the worst knockout that we've had in our show. It was Anthony Morrison and, what is it, Nick Gonzalez, I believe. And the one kid was going for a reverse spin punch, and cheesesteak, Anthony Morrison came up and hit him with the right hand, I believe, and knocked the poor guy out. Two great fighters, and you know, the fight was at some points very, very even, and you know, that's what happens in MMA. It was a really exciting knockout. And we've had a lot of guys that are in Bellator and UFC now that put on great performances to actually get in the UFC or Bellator, and they actually started their, you know, either their first, second, third fight in Matrix.
I have to say, my favorite fight, I think it was my brother's too, because he was sitting right next to me, was a woman's fight. I think it was, man, I forget their names now. Yeah, Muna Holland and the Brazilian girl, and that ended in a knockout, which was my favorite knockout. I mean, they just came out to bang, and they're a lot more strategic than I thought, than the guys were that night. And they came out. The first round was just excitement from when the bell rang to the end of the round. I think it ended in the second round, I believe, because they came back out and it was just ended right in a knockout. And we were right there. I was actually right there when she hit the girl. Boom, it was right there. I think it was me, my father, and my brother, and we all made the same noise as soon as she made the connection with that fist.
When they signed a fight for Matrix, the thing that's come back to us is that they are really impressed with the professional manner in which they're treated, because we're used to dealing at a professional level, and when we sign them and when we pay them and when we explain to them all of the things that go into the promotion and how they're going to benefit from it, their eyes are opened and they are very appreciative.
Well, what's cool about Matrix is that really no matter what ticket you get, you're going to see the show very, very close, and it's a very intimate sort of fight. We tried to model the fight after old boxing. Even the layout of the ring and the layout of the VIP and the front rows and all that sort of stuff, and the interaction with our staff.
What I want out of the Matrix experience, I want whoever comes to buy a ticket, I want them, one, to have a comfortable experience. All right, we don't pack in the chairs too deep. We don't put too many. We put a limited amount of space in there because I want everybody to be comfortable. On top of that, we don't mix match fights. In other words, I'm not putting a guy together, or we won't agree upon putting a guy that's like 10 fights fighting a guy at one fight. So it's not going to be like quick knockouts. They're going to be great fights. They're going to be close, and you're not going to know who's going to win. And the ambience itself. I mean, I don't want only knuckleheads in there, so I don't want anybody causing trouble. So when you walk into one of our events, you can bring your children, you can bring your kids, and you can have a great time there.
Plans for the future of Matrix are to keep putting on consistent quality shows, and to eventually, in time, when we make the right relationship with a corporate, with a TV company or media company, that we can actually get a bigger audience. We're ready to take the step. I mean, essentially what we're doing now, everyone that we have fighting is like stick figures. If we had a bigger production and we had a bigger budget, I would go after bigger stars, and we'd be doing the same exact type of show, but in a bigger setting. So it's almost like we're coming up with the right formula, and we're perfecting our formula each show that we do. And as any business, it has its bumps along the way, and that's where you work out the kinks. But the biggest thing that we have is a strong core, and that it gets stronger as the sport gets bigger, because our core is always the same. We live by a lot of good values to each other, and we instill those values to whoever we work with, and we're gonna let it create itself naturally and not have to do a lot of the things that other people do in this business to cut corners because they don't do business correctly. But we think that we're confident enough in our beliefs and the way that we do business that we will be the ones standing with the best product and ready to go to the next level. And I think that we're very close to that next level.
We purposely kept the show small so it wouldn't be too much stress on our staff, to know that we can do a show literally every month, a really great show, at least, even twice a month we can do it with the people that we have working with us. So what I'm looking forward to in the future is to keep developing this talent. I mean, we have a lot of talent in Philadelphia, and I'd like to pull people in worldwide as we've done in the past, but more often. So I'd like to see these guys from Brazil, from Europe, come over and fight a little bit more.
Well, the plans for the future, our plans for the future, are to continue with the natural progression that we have experienced until we reach a national/international level, because we know how to do it. We are respected in the industry. You won't find any state commissioner who will find fault with any of the promotions that we have accomplished thus far. They know how to work with us. We know how to work with them. We know what's expected of us, and we always deliver.
We're going to take it as far as we can take it. I mean, we have some discussion taking it out of the country as well. We're talking to some people as of right now. We're hesitant. We're putting it on. We had plenty of chances to put it on TV. We wanted to actually do at least 10 shows and prove ourselves to ourselves and to the people who are watching it, that we could put on really good fights, and we could do this before we even venture into that. But we're also getting close to that as well. Between Jimmy Bins, myself, and the other partnership that we have a lot of great connections, which with obviously in this sport, connections will lead fighters into bigger fights. I mean, if you look at it now, our track record on people who fight in our show, we have half a dozen, if not a dozen, people that make it onto our show that go on to bigger shows like Bellator, UFC, so forth. So it's not only good for the viewers, but this is also good for the fighter, whoever fights in our tournament. Even in the crowd alone, we have such high respected people in there, and people who want to sponsor these fighters. I invite a lot of business owners, that's the crowd that we have. A lot of business owners, a lot of people with big money that don't know where to put their money, and they're interested in this sport. This is a very new sport, and everybody wants to get their hands in it. This is good for one, to get sponsorships for the fighters, and two, it can be a way for the sponsor to make money, and be involved somehow.